Flitter, Spike, A True Love by Swedish Dove. One early noon, Flitter is waiting at the local restaurant for her boyfriend to join up. They were going to celebrate their 6-month anniversary. They had pre-planned this date to meet at the restaurant at 11. But Flitter came there right 10 minutes earlier, and when the time around just turned 11 a.m. She waited then 2 minutes passed. But that's okay. He often came a little bit later than sometimes. But after 5 minutes, okay, she said, he might be just a little bit later than usually. But then, after almost 20 minutes, okay, now he's really late. He never been this late before. When the time was 11:30 a.m., she started to wonder if he's ever coming. Then suddenly, Derpy of Alden just appeared and said, "Here, you're the letter." Flitter. She took the letter and paid toward Derpy. She opened the letter and she starts to read it. And it was from her boyfriend. "Dear Flitter, I'm sorry I couldn't come to our anniversary. The reason I am not there is because I'm not coming. And was it is because that I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you for someone else. I have found my true love in a mayor from Manhattan. So I'm leaving you to be with her and moving there already today. Your former boyfriend." Flitter was so devastated. She was looking forward to this date with her boyfriend so much. But now this. She couldn't stop with crying, so then she ran all the way back home. She ran in her friend Cloud Chaser. "Oh, hey Flitter," but Flitter didn't answer. She was so devastated she couldn't see her friend. She didn't say sorry. And she dropped the letter on the ground. Cloud Chaser to pick it up and start to read and realize what happened. She tried to run at home to her friend's home. She knocks on the door, but Flitter said, "Go away, I don't want to talk. Go away." "Please, Flitter, this is me, Cloud Chaser, please. Go away. Go," said she. The Cloud Chaser couldn't do anything else than just leave her friend alone. Flitter didn't leave her house for the next 3 days. And her friend Cloud Chaser started to begin a little bit worried about her friend. She tried to go to her home to ask her if she could come in and so they could talk. But she always get the same answer. No, I don't want to talk. Go. And she could hear her crying from inside. And just 2 more days passed, and Cloud Chaser started to get worried. So she asked Rarity or some other friends, but they all said, "Just leave her alone for some time. She needs some help. She needs her privacy now. What happens?" And Cloud Chaser couldn't do anything else. Then, a week later, Spike was at the market to buy some food for him and Twilight. Then he saw some point there. "Oh, hey Flitter." "Oh, hey Spike." Flitter hasn't still not coming over from her boyfriend just left her for someone else there. "Are you okay?" asked Spike. "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm sorry to hear what happened. Well, with your boyfriend and all," said Spike. things. I don't want to talk about it. It hurts. And Spike, you said, I know how it feels. Same thing happened to me when I was so much in love with Rarity, but I found out she was dating his another Miss Stallion from Manhattan. At least I think. But then I found out he was from Canterlot. I tried to compete with him, but I couldn't. So I couldn't stand it anymore. Oh, I'm sorry, Spike, said Flitter. Do you know what, Spike? Do you want to take some ice cream? Yeah, sure. But I have to leave this at Twilight's Castle first. Okay, we can take it after. Yeah, sure, said Spike. And Spike brought some more food, and then I went back to the castle. He left it there and also left a note to Twilight if she wasn't home. That he's going out to spend some time with Flitter after what recent happened. Spike met Flitter at the park, where they bought some ice cream and sat down on a bench. First, they wouldn't say much. They were quiet. They didn't speak much. But then Spike broke the silence and said, "Nice weather we have today." And Flitter just looked up at the sunny weather and said, "Yeah, yeah, we do." And then it was quiet again. It felt like almost an eternity for Spike and Flitter didn't speak much. They both had something in common. But then Spike said, "I can't even understand why your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend just left you for someone to marry. How could he do it? I mean, you were so beautiful, you were brave, strong, mostly beautiful, but he left you for someone to marry? He must have been so crazy about it. If I were him, I would never do it," said Spike. And Frieder heard that and looked at Spike and just blushed and said, "You mean it?" And Spike said, "Yeah, of course. I would never leave anyone like that. I would just do anything to make my other special pony very happy. I would do anything for her. I would give her flowers, take her out for dinner, anything. Make her something happy." "Oh, well, my boyfriend didn't do anything like that. All we did was just maybe go out once or twice. Most of the time we just spend it at my home and just talked most of the time. We didn't do anything else. I asked him a few times maybe we can go out for a walk or just go to some ice cream or maybe some dinner, but he always said, 'Oh, sorry, I can't. I'm so tired of the long work. I always I work so long and I have too much money to pay for dinner. I'm sorry, maybe next time maybe.' And then he always had almost the same excuse. I thought maybe he didn't want to do it at first. Maybe he was so tired and but now this. He must be in much of pain." "Yeah, I think so too," said Fredder. "But if he was that like that, why did you stay with him? Why didn't you just leave him and find someone else?" said Spike. "I don't know. I never thought about it," said Flitter. "Well," said Spike, and then he thought about something. He scratches his hand on his head and said, "Would you like to go out with me tonight?" said Spike. And Flitter, she was just looked at Spike again, and this time he was smiling at her. Are you asking me out? Yeah, I am, said Spike. And she started blushing again, but this time even more. And she started to smile and, yeah, I like that. Great. I pick you up at 7? Yeah, that would be great. And they sat there in the park, rest of the afternoon, before they went back home. Spike went home to the castle, and Twilight went home, as usual. She was in the library studying some books, and she asked, "So, Spike, how was your day so far?" "Oh, uh, pretty great. Spent some time with her, asked her out." Wait, wait. You asked her out? And she said, "No, no." She said, "Yes. I'm picking you up at 7. "Oh, well, that was a surprise," said Twilight. "Yeah." Spike went up to his room to get himself ready for his big day tonight. But then he realized something. He didn't have enough money to pay for a restaurant. But then he realized then also that he could ask Twilight for some money. So he went downstairs, and she was still in the library, and as always, reading the same book over again. Twilight? Yes, Mike? Can I ask you something? Sure. Can I borrow some bits? Have you spent all your bits on another comic book, Spike? Only one? But I give you money this week. It must have cost them much more than usually. Well, it wasn't a special edition. Ah, Spike, how many times have you asked for money this week? Once? And Twilight realized he was right. And how often are you often ask me for money? Maybe once, twice in a week, the second week or so. Not every week, but sometimes. And Twilight once again realized he was telling the truth. Spike is always saving his money to buy his own comic. He often works at some local restaurant or sugar cube corner to pay some money to buy some of his own comics or something else. But this time he wanted to borrow some money so he can take Flitter to a restaurant. It is for a day for Flitter. Yeah, it is. How much? I don't know. I was thinking about this new open restaurant in town. And Twilight had heard about that restaurant and the cost for it. And it wasn't that expensive. So Twilight gave him about 120 bits, which that it should be enough for him and Flitter. "Well, this should be enough for both of you," said Twilight. "Oh, thanks, Twilight," said Spike and hugged her and ran back to his room to get ready. Spike then went up to Flitter's home and knocked on the door, and then she opened. Spike was more surprised to see her in her dress. "Oh, you look amazing." "Thanks," said Flitter. Are you ready to go?" "Yeah, I am." So they both went to this local restaurant. "Is this the new one?" said Flitter. "Yeah, I would like to try it out, and they have not much to offer. I have been here once with Twilight." "And how's the food?" "It was so delicious, much gooder than I expect," said Spike. And Spike and Flitter spent at least 2 hours at the restaurant, and they both had such a great time. They had so much in common. They had many friends together as they has, and Flitter can just not stop listening to Spike about all his old adventures with his friends and all the kinds of adventure has the Dragon's Lands, and when he saved Crystal Empire twice, and when he helped to reform Forax. But most of the time he didn't know, otherwise he had to spend much on a date, because this was his absolute first date ever. And he even told that to Flitter, and she was more surprised, but she didn't mind that. So they both spent the entire time at the restaurant, and afterwards they took a small walk before he walked her home. And then, just outside her home, she thanked Spike and gave him a kiss, and then said, "I have such a lovely time tonight, Spike. Thank you." "You're welcome," Spike. "And also, I love you, Spike." Spike was more stunned to hear that she loves him. "You do?" "Yeah, no one at the pond has treated me like this before. Well, except my ex-boyfriend, but he didn't pay much this attention to me. And I love you, and I want to be with you." "Are you wanted to be my girlfriend?" And she just nodded, and Spike smiled and then kissed her again and said, "Sure." And then he went back home. Swallow was still up, and she was in her room, reading us a book, but this time was staring due. "Oh, Spike, you're home. So, how was the date?" "It was a dream," said Spike. "Yeah, I could see that," said Twilight, and saw a lipstick on his cheek and that he was smiling as much. "So I'm guessing the date was a success?" "Yeah." "And as a bonus?" "A bonus?" said Twilight. "Yeah, she is my girlfriend now." "Your girlfriend after just one date, Spike? Are you sure?" "Yeah, she asked me," said Spike. "Wow," said Twilight. "Well, I'm happy for you, Spike." And already the next day, Spike told his friends about this, and they all was most surprised. And even when Cloud Chaser heard about this, even she was more surprised to hear that Spike was dating Flitter now. Because she never thought that Spike, of all other ponies in town, would date Flitter. Even she knows that he is a very brave dragon, a baby dragon, and all of this. But she didn't mind. As long as her friend is happy, she is happy. For the next couple of weeks, Spike and Flitter spent so much time together. They went out on many dates, took picnics, even went to movies, or in restaurants, or even had dinner at her home or in the castle. But most of the time, during all this time together, their feelings for each other just grew stronger and stronger. And the Spike, he didn't mind dating a full-grown mare, because as long he is in love, that's okay for him. And at first, Flitter's parents were first against Spike and Flitter's relationship, because he was a baby dragon, and they thought that she would date a stallion instead. But after she told them about her ex-boyfriend, and they realized how much Spike had treated their daughter so much well, better than her ex-boyfriend. He often take her out, and he even helped her at home with some other minor works, some repairs, or even helped her groceries. Then they started to accept Spike. But at first, they didn't know if this kind of relationship would even last that long. They both thought they would even last maybe 6 months or less. But they both were so much wrong, because after only 2 years they were still together, and Spike, well, he didn't mind to be with Flitter. Even sometimes they were apart for a few days to a couple of weeks, because sometimes he had to travel to Dragon's Lands to help Amber with some other diplomatic missions with either the Changelings or the Yaks. But Spike couldn't stop love Flitter so much. Even he loves her so much more than life itself, because he would do anything to protect her from any kind of danger, even from that would risk his own life. Because Spike had said to her that he would sacrifice his own life to protect hers from any kind of danger. In fact, Flitter was one day out flying nearby the Dragon's Land, and then 3 adult dragons appeared out of nowhere and started to attack her. But this time, Spike was also accompanied with her nearby. When he saw it, he was so furious about so much anger. He screamed at them to leave her alone, but the dragons just laughed and laughed and laughed at him. How much could he do? He was still on the ground, they were in midair. And just to seem that surrounding her back and forth, so preventing her from flying from any direction. Then Spike once again told them, "Leave him! Leave her alone!" But the dragons just said, "Ha ha ha! You can't stop us! You on the ground, we on the air!" But Spike just said once again, "Leave her alone! Or I will tell Dragon Lord Amber about this." But then he just laughed once again and said, "She can't stop us now. She's not even here. She's in the Crystal Empire with Vorax." Then Spike realized, even he had to tell her now, it would be too late. But Spike wouldn't give up. He was so furious about this, he said once again over and over to leave her alone. But they wouldn't just stop. They just all laughed and laughed. Then Spike used all his power. He blew fire, and this fire was so big, and it flew right up in the air, hit the dragons, and they both were scared about this big fire, because no other dragons can blow that so big, not even a full grown. Well, at least a full grown could, but as baby dragon, well, that scared them, so they flew away as fast as they could. And Flitter, she was impressed at Spike's breathing ability like that. That made her know for sure that Spike is her true love. What did he do? Well, she fell right down and hugged Spike and kissed him over and over. She said, "Thank you, Spike, thank you. And how could you do that? I didn't know you could blow that much fire." And Spike was just so exhausted and said, I didn't know myself. Then he fainted. "Spike, Spike," said Flitter.